All right. Good Wednesday morning, everybody. It is May 28th, 2025. And hey, we made it. We made it on time for a normal show, which means no CBA negotiations for me. But hey, that means a live show for you. And today, boys, we got a couple of things that we need to discuss. Yes, it is the absolute NFL desert, as they say. There is not a lot of content, not a lot of news articles to be popping up, but we do have some things that we've found. Some things nationally we'll discuss here. And over at foxnews.com, we got this article. NFL legend slams possibility of Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. Terry Bradshaw says he liked Kenny Pickett and that Aaron Rodgers, well, the possibility of signing him, that's a joke. We'll dive into that, see what the blonde bomber's got to say about Aaron Diddly-Doo Rodgers and the possibility of him being his franchise quarterback. Then yesterday, there was a brief news here. We're going to be walking on over to Pride of Detroit. Going to be getting a little bit more of a local attack for you guys here. The Lions adding veteran linebacker prior to OTAs. Waha! Excuse me, right off the rip with it early and often, boys. The Detroit Lions are reportedly signing veteran linebacker Zach Cunningham to their roster ahead of OTAs, and that is confirmed. This article came out yesterday. It kind of came out right before we were about to go live, but we'll poke around on that a little bit. There is good news, though, here, folks. There is good news here. There is good news. I know it has been a slog. It feels like the draft is our, oasis in a desert of NFL content. But look, guys, look here. May 28th through the 30th. Oh, would you look at that? Today's May 28th. Lions OTAs start today, boys. That's right. We get some Lions organized team activities, a little schedule here on what we can look forward to. And because it's OTAs and because, we like to speculate on what's going on, we did find this article from Jeremy Reisman just this morning over at Pride of Detroit. What are you hoping to learn from the Detroit Lions during OTAs? The Detroit Lions OTAs get underway on Wednesday. That'd be today. What are you hoping to learn about this team? So some things that we can kind of look around at. Guys, I know it's very early on in the off-season or start of the new season, but we got to find something to talk about. And if you're anything like me, the Detroit Lions, you're just champing at the bit, waiting for more content to come out, and in hopes for a big 2025 NFL season. So, hey, good morning, Mr. Detroit City, you guys down in the chat. Hopefully you're having a good day. We got a poll pulled up here for you guys, and that poll is, who needs to have a big week of organized team activities? I've given you 4 possible options, and none of them are wrong. But we'll say, are you looking for the rookie O-line players to have a massive week of OTAs? How about the rookie D-line players? What about your feelings on them? Do they need to have the bigger week? Or is it something where you're still a little bit skittish after last season's injury plague riddled season that led us to a 15-2 regular season, back-to-back NFC North Division champs, as well as securing the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, although we were marred with injuries. So are you more concerned about the depth pieces we need to acclimate to our culture, learn the playbook, learn Calvin Shepard? So are you looking for how well the depth pieces develop during OTAs in our secondary, our DB room, or our linebacker pieces? We just talked about Zach Cunningham. Go ahead and pick there. So far, we got 4 votes. Look like rookie O-line players are starting to kind of run away with it here. Again, there are no wrong votes with this. Personally, myself, I am very high still on Tate Ratledge. I can't wait to see him develop during OTAs, during training camps. I'm very excited about Tate Ratledge. So just something you guys can engage in. So down in the week, it looks like we got a few people hanging out. Feel free to engage in the chat if you want. There's a good group of people here. We like to kind of keep things, lively in the chat. I tend to get off on some weeds here a little bit, but like I say, look, guys, it's y'all that make the show. I'm just reading the content. So, morning, Mr. Detroit City. If you guys wouldn't mind, though, this is where we got to get into the meat and potatoes of it all, and where we got to do our little call to action. So, if you enjoy the content that you're watching right now, go ahead and assault that like button. Hit it with the 2-piece and the biscuit on your way on over to the subscribe button. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel. That way you can be part of the Hat and Beard team. And I know what you're asking. You're like, man, this feels like the largest, fastest growing NFL and Detroit Lions content creation station in the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central for you Cowboys out there in Oklahoma. How can I be a part of this program? How can I join guys like Mr. Detroit City, who's touching the like button real nice? I like it when you caress that like button, Mr. Detroit City. And the like button likes it when you touch it. It might just touch you back. You never know. So how you can be a part of this team is ringing that notification bell. That way you are notified whenever we go live Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central for you Cowboys down in Oklahoma. And we will be expanding. Keep your ears to the ground for the announcement when we do go 5 days a week here, Monday through Friday. That will be closer to the start of the regular season. The last thing I'm going to ask you to go ahead and do is really, it's the best way for you to help this channel grow. Obviously, we are a very, very, very small channel. Not even in the sphere of small channels. We are scrapping our way to try and get to 4-digit subscribers. So the best thing you can do to help this channel grow is to share this content around with all your friends. Now, I completely understand. In today's world of a well-cultivated, groomed, and tailored social media presence, you probably don't want people knowing, well, that you're affiliated with the Hat and Beard Show. And I'm not offended. I wouldn't want to be affiliated with myself either, right? I get it. So there's a little bit of a workaround you can do there. Since over 80% of you watch this on mobile devices, the easiest way is to just down in the bathtub under the video here, after you assault and poke that like button, go ahead and click share on the video and copy this link down on your clipboard. It acts the same way as sharing it around on your social medias. The algorithm can't tell the difference and helps push us out a little bit. And if anything's like yesterday, hey, look, we've been picking up guys, a couple of guys every couple of days here. It feels pretty good, and I feel like those of you guys who do tune in, stick around, like Mr. Brent DeWitt. Morning, Brent DeWitt. How you doing this morning, brother? Another regular, dude. Guy, man, you showed up, about draft time? You showed up about draft time. You've just been sticking around, brother. And not for nothing, guys. Jesus Christ, not for nothing. Y'all have your finger on the pulse with Lions news content. I'm going to be honest with you, with some of y'all. You guys tell me stories, and we end up diving into it, digging into it, and looking up stuff just because you guys have your finger on the pulse a little bit more than I do. So I really, really appreciate all you guys doing that. So morning, everyone. 2 rookie O-line are going to be great, but breaking into a top 5 O-line isn't going to be easy. Waiting to see them with the pads on. Yeah, I agree with you, Brent DeWitt. Boots on the ground, guerrilla warfare marketing. That's exactly it, Mr. Detroit City. We are a grassroots movement. You know, the big goal here, obviously the big goal is that we get the channel large enough that come 2028, maybe late 2027, but I'd like to be big enough, have a big enough footprint that somebody like J.D. Vance starts to take notice of me, and then we can have a 2028 presidential campaign of Vance and Beard 2028. So that's kind of the goal here for us to do. So now that's out of the way, let's get into this, fellas.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Pop in the chat and drop the link. Move to the next. Hell yeah, Mr. Detroit City, dude, you really are. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was thinking about this last night. You're like single-handedly growing my channel, dude. Mr. Detroit City is like single-handedly. You're doing not only yeoman's work, but the Lord's work, my friend. And I really do appreciate it. I'm not just saying, oh, thanks for tuning in and telling a friend. That's what we love about you. No, I genuinely appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for helping try and grow the channel here, dude. You're putting in work, dude, and I appreciate it. All right, boys and girls, so our first story of the day, we're going to walk on over to foxnews.com. Think of what you want about their news broadcast, but they tend to put out relatively good, sports content. So NFL legend slams possibility of Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. Quote, "That's a joke." Terry Bradshaw says he liked Kenny Pickett. Pro Football Hall of Famer Terry the Blonde Bomber Bradshaw made it clear in a radio interview in Arkansas this week that he is no fan of the idea of Aaron Do-Diddly-Do Rodgers joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rodgers teased the possibility of him joining the Steelers during a podcast interview over the Memorial Day weekend. He said he has some personal life issues he wants to clear up before making a decision on whether to sign with any team. And again, Aaron Do-Diddly-Do Rodgers doing what he does, leaving everything very open-ended, being just a wiener. Just, for lack of a better term, he's just being a wiener. Aaron Rodgers really does think very highly of himself, even back in the draft time. And now he still thinks he is the prettiest belle at the ball. You're over 40, dude, and you might still be able to zing it, but you can't move like you could, especially with that blown up Achilles he got 2 years ago. And not for nothing, Mr. Rodgers, but it's no longer your neighborhood anymore, as much as I hate to say it. It is now the young guns game. It is Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, right? They are the top two dogs at the quarterback position. There are some satellite guys. You know, Lamar isn't necessarily young anymore, but Lamar Jackson, top 5 quarterback. And especially here, we're going to go ahead and sound a little biased, but Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Now, it is down to the Steelers, and it appears to be only a matter of time before pen is put to paper. Hey, good morning, Chasing Chase. You made it. Good morning, y'all. Good morning to you, brother, Mr. Big Promotion over here. Everybody, go ahead and make sure we give a big round of applause. We won't. This is the last time. But it is a big week of celebration for our boy Chase. You know, he's been putting in work. The dude, between him and Mr. Detroit City is single-handedly growing my channel. You guys, Chase is basically my tech guy, dude. Without him, I'd be absolutely dog-fucked. So a big part of the channel here. And our guy has been grinding it out the past 6 months, got himself a new job at a new company. And just last week, our boy ground himself right into a new promotion. So big round of applause from the Hat and Beard Show. Chase, we are proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you, bro. Seriously, putting in work. I know a lot of 40-year-old hippies with a ton of miles drugged out like Aaron Rodgers. They think that hot shit, but really just worn down and used up. That's exactly it, dude. Aaron Rodgers is this is why I kind of like it when guys go out on top. Aaron Rodgers will still be able to walk away from the game, but his faculties won't be in. He's starting to turn into Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, you know what I'm saying? Eventually we're going to catch Aaron Rodgers, you know, living in a van out in the woods, talking about how he could still throw his football over that mountain range over there, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of where Aaron is. It's sad. It's just, it's giving desperate fat girl vibes now. You know what I'm saying? It's just sad. Personally, with Aaron Do-Diddly-Do Rodgers at this point, you would think that the stuff coming out of Aaron Rodgers' brain is in the head of this old Terry the Blonde Bomber right here. You know what I'm saying? Like their faculties are about the same. Bradshaw appeared on 107.3 The Buzz and sounded off on Rodgers. Quote, that's just a joke to me. What are you going to do? Bring him in for a year? Are you kidding me? The guy needs to stay in California. This is what I love right here. Go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there. Smoke some more dirt, Rodgers. Exactly, dude. That's and I mean, personally, guys, like, I know he did his ayahuasca thing. I am a big fan of people doing ayahuasca. I'm a big fan of DMT. You know, the psychedelics have a place and time in everyone's life. You know, if what you gotta do, it's what you gotta do. It's just, look, Aaron Rodgers, my guy. Like, you gotta do something here, Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna put it as excuse me, as easy as I can for here, Aaron Rodgers. You got to shit or get off the pot here, Hoss. You can't just sit here, you know, paying to fart. You know what I mean? Like, or paying to poop and only farting. Yeah, it's time to shit or get off the pot, brother. We're tired of this. I'm tired of hearing Aaron Do-Diddly-Do Rodgers, the saga, the drama of Aaron Do-Diddly-Do Rodgers. You know, it is what it is. I'm ready for Aaron Rodgers to go away. He added that he was a fan of Kenny Pickett when the Steelers, this is talking back in the article, select him in the first round of the 22 draft. Whether he received a fair shake in Pittsburgh is up for debate, but he only lasted 2 seasons before he found himself backing up Jalen Hurts on the Philadelphia Greasy Eagles last season, winning himself a Super Bowl ring, and he is now with the Cleveland Brown Holes. Quote, I liked Kenny Pickett. I liked him at Pitt. I know him. I know what he's like. And when they got him to Pittsburgh, here's what they didn't do, Bradshaw said. They didn't protect him. They didn't get him an offensive line. They wanted to run the football, but they didn't have an offensive line that could protect, and they didn't have weapons. He had no wide receivers to speak of. I mean, Deontay Johnson was good with Ben throwing him the ball. George Pickens wasn't quite where he is now, and George Pickens is a fucking basket case, so that's neither here nor there. Aaron Diddly-Do Rodgers was asked over the weekend whether he would consider playing for the Chicago Bears, but teased signing with one of their opponents instead. No, I believe there's a team that might play in Chicago this year on a road trip, he said on the YNK podcast. I don't know, not sure. Go check it out. I love Chicago, though, way more than they love me. It's been a great relationship, all one way. Yeah, that'd be no. No. I don't need Aaron Diddly-Do Rodgers signing with small PP Benedict Arnold Johnson, the trader in the Windy City. That's absolutely nuts. And it's time for Aaron Diddly-Do Rodgers to shit or get off the pot. I'm just tired of hearing about him. He's past his prime, although he still could probably play at a higher than Joe Flacco level, let's be honest. Do you want the nonsense? This is something that, Joe Flacco brings to the table that Aaron Rodgers doesn't. Lack of bullshit. Lack of the bullshit, right? Because, once Aaron Rodgers gets into a team, then he's going to start whining, wanting things, demanding things, needing his guys to be brought in. And that's an organization like Pittsburgh. Are they going to let a douche nozzle like Aaron Diddly-Do Rodgers come in and kind of bully them around and push them around and tell them what they're going to do and what they need? I don't think so, simply because Pittsburgh has the historical pedigree to say, yeah, no, we know what we're doing, and get bent Aaron Diddly-Do Rodgers. All right, down in the chat, sure, same here, smoke what you want, and then it affects your job, and just look at how... look like a fool, got to make them change. Exactly. Quit football or lock it in. That's exactly it. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers, figure it out. Make your decision and either be a football player. You know what I just realized that I sound like? Oh, shit. I sound like the... I sound like the coach from Dazed and Confused. Oh, wow, I've become an old man. I sound like the coach from Dazed and Confused. All right, so moving on to our next article here. If you're not already, would you kindly poke the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, ring that notification bell, and share this around with all your friends. We are going to do a barrel roll on over here to prideofdetroit.com. A little news broke yesterday. Detroit Lions adding a veteran linebacker prior to OTAs. Prior to the start of organized team activities at the end of the week, that'd be today is the start, the Detroit Lions have added another veteran linebacker to their room. According to NFL Ian Rappaport, the Lions are signing Zach Cunningham. A little bit about Zach Cunningham. Let's learn about who he is and what he's done. This could be a good signing, okay? As much as we like the Nowitzkis, as much as we like, the Anthony Pittmans, the Ezekiel Turners, I think Grant Stewart doesn't have anything to worry about because we signed him early in the free agent period. This is another veteran move. Does he have the pedigree? No, I think Zach Cunningham never exceeded his ceiling. I think he had a higher ceiling than most players, and then was ascending to get to that spot, but never really hit that stride that he needed to. A former second-round pick in 2017, Cunningham has had stints with the Houston Texans, 2017 to 21, the Tennessee Titans, 21 to 22, and the Philadelphia Eagles in 23, and most recently the Denver Broncos in 2024. Over the entire course of his career, Cunningham has made 102 game appearances with 86 starts. So he's been around. He's played a lot of snaps in the NFL. He was mostly a starter for the Eagles 2 years ago, tallying 85 tackles, 4 pass defended, a fumble recovery in Philly. However, last year, he spent much of the season on the Broncos practice squad before signing to the team's active roster for the final 2 months of the season. In the final 7 games of the season, he played just 15 defensive snaps and 41 on special teams. In Detroit, he'll enter in an extremely crowded linebacker room that features Alex Anzalone, Action Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Grant Stewart, Anthony Pittman, Ezekiel Turner, and Trevor Nowitzki, among others. However, the Lions may need some extra bodies during their offseason program. Rodriguez is still rehabbing from his torn ACL suffered last year, and it's quite possible Anzalone skips out on OTAs as he's regularly done in the past. In a corresponding move, the Lions waived third-year linebacker Abraham Beauplan to make room for Cunningham on the 90-man roster. The Lions begin OTAs on Friday with a string of practices that run through the entire weekend. Their second and final set of OTAs are from June 3rd through the 5th, earlier this offseason. Detroit canceled mandatory minicamp following being chosen for the preseason Hall of Fame game. So what do you think about Zach Cunningham, huh? How do you feel, chat? Hi, good morning, Jeanette Hall. Rodgers needs to retire. You and me and I think everybody else in the chat are going to all agree Cunningham is a good depth piece until we got Rodrigo back from injury. Brent DeWitt. I swear, Brent DeWitt, you and I are like on the same brainwave, dude, because my thoughts exactly, dude. Zach Cunningham is a perfect fill-in piece until Malcolm Rodriguez comes back from injury. Why not? Why not? He's a veteran. He's been around, 86 starts in the NFL. Bring him in, and this is what we've talked about. This is what we talked about yesterday, and we'll continue to talk about. Last year was a anomaly with the number of injuries, right? You can survive your first line of players being injured and still go 500, right? Now, obviously, our record, we were an anomaly last year. That was purely Jared Goff, Action Jack Campbell, Amon-Ra, and Gibbs just willing the team to victory, right? Simply because last year, not only did our first line of players get just absolutely decimated with injuries, but then we started to chew through our reservists, our Malcolm Rodriguez's, our guys that need to be there. And if we can, as much as I would hate to see a guy like Trevor Nowitzki not be on the active roster, simply because I am a homer of all homers here, fellas. I love to see homegrown kids make it to the league, play for the hometown team. I would rather have the proven pedigree of a Zach Cunningham, ideally completely healthy, in lieu of the reserve of a Trevor Nowitzki, in lieu of a reserve of special teams Anthony Pittman. You know what I'm saying? If I can get a Zach Cunningham who can play well on special teams and has the pedigree of a starting linebacker in the NFL, yeah, I'm going to take that as my reservist. And who knows, maybe Zach Cunningham comes in and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm really, really good in pass coverage. That gives you flexibility on your third down linebacker rotation, so you're not just locked into Alex Anzalone or Action Jack Campbell. Maybe you can give these guys a blow because you have better pedigree reservist players that you can rely on more effectively than we were able to last year. What I'm looking here at the Detroit Lions and the moves that we have made have been solid outside of the DJ Reed signing. Corner number one. Solid reserve players. Real smart moves by Brad Holmes. And you guys have heard me say this before, and we're going to continue to say it. Until proven otherwise, Brad Holmes, we cannot question the decisions that he makes because everything has been the correct decision. And he is not afraid to make a correction if his decision isn't going the right direction. Down in the chat, could have also been signed due to the fact that the Lions and Saints were talking a trade. AA for Cam Jordan was the scuttlebutt, but AA stays put. No, you're talking Alex Anzalone? No. Dude, we could not trade Alex Anzalone, especially for I don't want to say washed up Cam Jordan because Cam Jordan has Hall of Fame pedigree. But I wouldn't make that trade. Oh my goodness, I would hate to see Alex Anzalone get traded, dude. I'd hate to see it. It'd be a wreck here in the house because Alex Anzalone is Hat and Boo's favorite Lion. I'm gonna hope that was just scuttlebutt, dude, because I need old Alex Anzalone to stay put right here in Detroit. I mean, personally, I'm hoping that Alex Anzalone plays the duration of his career here in Detroit and then transitions into a coaching role with the Detroit Lions. Simply because the position that he's already been put in here in Detroit, yeah, he plays at an insanely high level. But with the youth movement behind him, we've just been building youth pieces around Alex Anzalone in the linebacker room. He's already being groomed to become a defensive coordinator, a linebacker coach, because he's already practicing that with the younger players around him. And I can't even say varying degrees of success, with very good degrees of success. Derek Barnes became a significantly better linebacker for the Detroit Lions when Alex Anzalone was able to spend time with him during the offseason and came in-house. Malcolm Rodriguez has been able to exceed the ceiling put forth on a 6th-round draft pick linebacker despite the injury because of guys like Alex Anzalone. Action Jack Campbell is on, my opinion, the trajectory to be the next Brian Urlacher of the NFC North, and that is because not only of his God-given talents, but because of the toolage that he's been able to experience under guys like Alex Anzalone. And I think Alex Anzalone fits the coaching pedigree that Dan Campbell looks for to have in the organization. So if I had my way, dollars to donuts, Alex Anzalone would simply transition into being a coach with the organization and then eventually ascending to a coordinator role. That'd be my big hope. According to Lions Talk Live this morning, AA is our defensive QB, and it was obvious when he was out. That's exactly it. He is the quarterback of the defense. He is an extension of the defensive coordinator on the field. I completely agree with you, dude. I think there was another chat there that I missed. I'm sorry, guys. I completely agree with you, though, dude. Brent, Anzalone is far too important of a player to allow to just walk, for one. I know he's in the back end of his contract, but oops. I don't know what's going on here. But also to just trade away. I just don't see that. I hope that's not a reality. I guess I'm just talking myself into the reasons why they couldn't do it. But Brad Holmes can do whatever Brad Holmes wants to do. So, man, I would hate to see Anzalone go, and I especially if your goal is to replace him with Zach Cunningham. Now, you know what though? Maybe Alex Anzalone maybe the offers are too good to pass up. He's in the last year of his contract. Maybe the opportunity, maybe Brad Holmes has too much value being thrown at him, knowing that we have Rodriguez ready to come back come November, October, knowing that we now have Cunningham in-house, knowing that Derek Barnes is going to be healthy, and knowing the ascension of Jack Campbell. Maybe it comes down to a football move, but historically, I don't see Brad Holmes doing that. I mean, look at what he did with Emmanuel Mosley. Brad Holmes likes to keep his guys around, and he rewards them with dollars and with good contracts. Sounds like AA is butthurt because Barnes makes more money now. Oh, shit. That could be. He is in the last year of his contract, and personally, I think Alex Anzalone, now granted, last year he was hurt, but the importance of Alex Anzalone on our defense justifies him being re-signed to a decent contract. You know what I'm saying? Do I think we overpaid for Derek Barnes? I think we did overpay for Derek Barnes, but maybe the plan is Derek Barnes. Maybe the plan for Derek Barnes is that we have Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs 2.0 with Action Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes, and maybe Alex Anzalone. Maybe the plan for him was to be the coach. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is the plan for him. I don't know. I'll be honest. Anzo can walk. Mr. Detroit City. Hello. Not too big on Anzo, huh? Not too wild about him. Is it a money thing, or is it just do you feel like we have guys already here that can do what Anzalone does to the same level, if not better? You know what I'm saying? Which will come a point in time. That's the part of aging out. That's the part of players getting older is eventually their skill sets do deteriorate, and younger guys every single year, guys are getting drafted into the league who are younger, faster, more aggressive. They want that generational wealth that you've already accumulated. You know what I'm saying? He will never reach Jack Campbell's ceiling, and if Buddy wants a bag, go fetch one. We can bring in guys like Judon and Jordan. Hey, okay. I would legit Handbeard fangirl. Hey, babe. I would legit cry. LOL. Love watching him. Guys who want a ring, not just cash. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Hat and boobs. That's like her favorite player is Alex Anzalone, dude. I do agree with you though, Mr. Detroit City. Alex Anzalone will not be what Jack Campbell's going to be, right? And have you gotten all of the juice out of the Alex Anzalone fruit if you're going to let him go? Have you squeezed all the juice out of that, or can you get a little bit more out of him? You know what I'm saying? Can you get a little bit more out of him? But that's a money thing. That's a football business decision. And this could be, like you say, he could be a little. Anzo has to remember he was just part-time lover until MC turned him into a full-time player, and he can return to that if he wants. You know what, dude? You are right. You are right, Mr. Detroit City. Alex Anzalone was not a starter. He was a situational linebacker. And because of the opportunity that Motor City Dan Campbell gave him in Detroit, he has been able to flourish into a more household name of a linebacker. The hair is very iconic. His hammer slam is very iconic. And if he didn't come to Detroit, if he didn't follow Motor City Dan Campbell, if there wasn't Aaron Glenn coordinating the defense, putting the faith in Alex Anzalone 3 years ago, you know what I'm saying? If all of these things didn't happen, maybe Alex Anzalone wouldn't be where he's at now, career-wise, dollar-wise, player profile-wise, you know what I'm saying? He was fighting for time in New Orleans. Dan makes a lot of players play above their ceiling by being in the room with them, period. I completely agree with you, Mr. Detroit City. I completely agree with you, dude. And that's what I've been saying is the magic of Dan Campbell. That's the magic of Dan Campbell and the coaching staff that we try and develop around here, right? It is because of these former players that we have, and they are able to get excuse me, the most out of their players without just the X's and O's, because they get up in their head and they get up in their heart, right? And yes, you can execute and you can have X's and O's, but when you can have X's and O's and pair them with hard running Jessies known as Jimmies and Joes, you're going to have a hell of an offense and defense. Ask Goff. Dan pumps guys up. No, exactly. Look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback, a game manager, overpaid in L.A., not the guy, can't win the games, isn't going to be a franchise quarterback. And look at what he's been able to do with Jared Goff. Look what he was able to do with Jamal Williams, right? Look at what Isaiah Buggs was able to do. Look at these guys. Evan Brown. Okay, look at these guys. When they leave Detroit, do they ever, outside of TJ Hawkinson, has there been anybody from the Detroit organization that was under Dan Campbell, players, who have gone on to have equal, if not a better career than they were having in Detroit? I don't think so. I think any player that has left the Detroit organization has had less than what they were having here in the Detroit Lions organization. Jason Kenny, good morning, Jason. How you doing this morning, bud? Cunningham is a great filler piece. Also adds a competition in the linebacker room. Yes, that's he's a good fill-in piece. He's a good tool to have in your toolbox. Notably, he's a veteran, right? He has the pedigree. He can play. He can also help coach, develop, and learn. Now, we don't have many young linebackers anymore. Let's be honest. We don't have many young linebackers anymore. Jack Campbell is probably the youngest, and he is a starter. I expect I might as well just start calling him Brian Urlacher at this point. Raising late. Hey, nothing wrong with that, Jason Kenyon, dude. I appreciate you just stopping in, dude. I always feel bad. Like I don't want you guys to have any expectations that you have to be here for the shows or whatever. I love it. I appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out, man. But look, brother, I completely understand. Y'all got lives outside of here, man, and I'm uploading right during the middle of the day, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time for you Cowboys down there in Oklahoma. But brother, I just appreciate you tuning in, hanging out, man. Shit, bro. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate you guys being here today. So that's kind of the Cunningham move. It does. If you think about it, it can make you feel good on the whole. Preparation H feels good on the whole. I think right now we're just looking at a pure offseason move. We got to get through training camp. We got to get through OTAs to see where these guys are going to shake out because, you know, a lot of things change, right? We a couple years last year, we were completely relying on Big John Kaminsky to be a focal point of our defensive line rotation. And in mini camp, OTAs or training camp, one of the three, he blew his knee out and had to retire. You know what I'm saying? So things could all change, right? All the vets that have come for a year have been great with the Lions. I work nights, so I usually be up. Hey, Jason. All right, now you work night, like actual nights. I work second shift. I work 3 to 11. Are you like an actual graveyard dude? Doing the real? Tell you what, brother. I did third shift for a while, and that shit was rough, dude. That shit was rough. I mean, I did third shift like when I was younger, and it was no big deal. And then I did third shift about 5 years ago or so, and that was rough. I did not enjoy that. Second shift, I seem to fit pretty well because I am not a morning person, and being able to do this, you know, having my morning to myself to kind of accumulate myself before I have to go in and deal with all the nonsense and bullshit that is my work life is kind of nice. So us off shifters, hell yeah. And I'm not forgetting all you guys right now working and lurking. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys tuning in while you're at work, sticking it to the man because, you know, if your boss asks, tell him that you're grossly more efficient with Hat and Beard playing in the background, and that maybe if your boss were to like, comment, and subscribe to the Hat and Beard show and listen to the show once in a while, they would understand how beneficial this can be to people, right? 10p to 6a, and I hate it. Oh, you work the real third shift. Damn, Jason, that is brutal, dude. That is exactly what I worked when I was down at the plant, dude. That is brutal. 10 to 6 is rough, my guy. It is rough. Closing manager at the restaurant in Fort Lauderdale on the beach. Closing at midnight was a blast. Drunk fucks, no shirts, shoes, a mess breaking bottles in the parking lot at 1 a.m., inventory, 2 a.m., etc. LOL. Hell yeah. Well, you know, Mr. Detroit City, that restaurant life sounds wild, dude. That shit, I'm glad that I never did that, dude, because that sounds wild as hell, man. I kind of like as much as I hate my job, I like my boring job. You know what I'm saying? All right, boys, we're going to roll on over just briefly. This is another DetroitLions.com, just real quick so you guys can understand. OTAs are kicking off this week. They're going to be going from May 28th through the 30th, and then June 3rd through the 5th. So this week and next week, we're going to have Lions OTAs, and it is a little bit of a stuff we can talk about for the next couple 2-3 weeks here while we wait for mini camps to open up. Now, obviously, mandatory mini camp has been canceled by the Detroit Lions. We will not be doing mandatory mini camps June 10 through 12. They canceled that because we do get the Hall of Fame game where we'll be hosting the Los Angeles, not hosting, but we'll be playing the Los Angeles Chargers at the Hall of Fame game down in Canton, Ohio. So I think that's July 31st. Lions will get the first crack at the preseason, so a little bit more of a condensed off season for us. Shouldn't be too much of a situation. We haven't had too much of a player turnover. Some new faces, but the new faces that we bring in are guys that we can trust to pick up on things and not necessarily have to rely on such a heavy practice situation. You did it for 15 years, management, corporate-owned, private-owned, and worked governments, events, weddings. Left that life almost 1 year ago. And I imagine you are much happier now, Mr. Detroit City. Are you much happier now that you're out of the chaos of that restaurant life, dude? The chaos, just the constant, just you know what I'm saying? Just the madness of it all. Pardon me. So, in case you guys are wondering, what do OTAs really involve? They are what's called organized team practice activities, OTAs, and they can include 7-on-7s, 9-on-9s, and 11-on-11 in drills. No contact is permitted. In this phase, each team can host a mandatory minicamp, which we will not be doing. But this is the big thing. They are what we called back in the day walkthroughs, no pads, no contact. installing basic things, basic formations, that type of shit. Getting guys accumulated to the building blocks and the foundation of what we try and do here with the Detroit Lions. Love the industry, but no time for faith and family. Exactly, Mr. Detroit City. And that's what I really don't like about work anymore is the workplace of the modern America is work is supposed to come first. Work is supposed to come before family, before friends, before faith, before everything. You are supposed to put your job first. You're supposed to think about it all the time. When we call you, you better answer because I have questions. You know what I'm saying? I absolutely despise it. And I'm not trying to sound like some, pinko commie bastard, but like at a certain point, there does need to be a mild change in employer-employee relations. I'm not saying a huge overhaul, but it would be nice if there was a little bit more of an understanding, between corporate America and all of us peons that make corporate America turn. That I would like to see my family once in a while. I would, like for me, for example, I work in the entertainment industry. And simply because my current employer, who they're getting the boot in about 30 days, they don't hold our clients responsible to sign a contract until 7 days prior before their event. I don't know if that's industry standard. I think that's pretty fucking pathetic because what that means for me is I'm not getting my schedule for the following week until 4:30 on a Friday. How am I supposed to schedule appointments, do anything outside of work when I'm waiting until literally the last possible minute? And like I say, 4:30. That means I have 30 minutes before businesses close on a Friday to schedule any appointments, and that's absolutely bullshit, dude. This is bullshit. Was a tech of the phone company and always gone. Lost the family due to it, among other things. Foot reconstruction didn't help. Was a tech for the... The phone So were you cellular or landline phones? Foundry auto worker for almost 30 years, mostly graveyard shift. Grandkids asked me why I called it the shithole. So glad when I retired 2 years ago. Hello. Dude, cheers to you, Brent DeWitt, being able to retire, bro. So I never worked... I worked in a foundry, but not for a foundry. Years ago, I used to do low voltage security access control and surveillance camera work. And the one foundry kind of, it's somewhere between like Detroit and Howell, I feel like, closer to Detroit. We had to put TV down, or we had to put cameras down to watch some of their stuff. And I hated working down on that foundry, dude. It was so dirty and fucking gross, dude. I hated it. Internet and TV and landlines at times. Oh, Jason Kenyon. Okay. Yep, bro. All right, dude. So I worked for WOW Cable here for a little bit, installing cable, internet, and telephone in people's homes. That industry fucking sucks, dude. That industry. How's this, bro? I will go and work in the wastewater industry again before I ever install fucking home TV, internet, all that bullshit, because that job sucks, bro. That job sucks. And I did it here in Michigan in the winter, dude. That job blows donkey balls, bro. No surprise. Was an all-around low voltage tech. Hey, Jason, me too, dude. Dude, shit, Jason, bro. Have wired new stores and builds. Dude, yeah. Yo, all right, dude. So, like, about 10 years ago, all the Targets in at least the Midwest area were being remodeled and shit. And the low volt company I worked for, we got to do all the data and all the data and cameras for them. Dude, that was a wild couple of remodels, dude. We did like a couple of 2-3 stores, dude. Dude, Jason, that's awesome, dude. I did low volt work for a long, long time, bro. For a long, long time. And then I got into... So the reason I got into low volt work was because I walked away from my electrical apprenticeship like a dipshit. And then... Oh, you did graveyard and wastewater too? Wastewater's gross, bro. I wish I would have worked at a wastewater plant. Instead, I worked for a company that service septic tanks and not like pumped them out. I mean, like would change the floats and change the pumps and like bring out the sludge judge and measure how much shit you had in your tank. You know what I'm saying? Flush the lines because, flush the lines. Whoa, dude, one time, one, I hate, one time we had a 6 foot tall, because we were flushing the, we were flushing the lines of this house, and we had a 6 foot tall stand of waste that came out the back end, just standing all the way upright. And I went over with it and just knocked it right over. I don't deal. Wastewater's gross to me, boys. Wastewater's gross to me. Most corporate America puts money over humans. Can't sell my soul to keep climbing. I couldn't even when successful and good at climbing. Not worth eternity. Exactly, dude. That's and Mr. Detroit City. I think that's starting to be what you're going to see in the next 10 to 15 years. As the mentality that you and I have, and millennials kind of age into more of a control setting. You're going to see a lot of change of understand. Like, we hate corporate America, dude. Millennials hate posers, dude. We hate posers and we hate sellouts, dude. Home inspections across the state, also ancillary services for another company. Try doing installs in the summer when it's humid over 110 degrees and you have to go. Ew! Yeah, Jason, dude. If you were doing cable in Oklahoma, holy shit, bro. Luckily, I was a plant and everything was pretty sanitary. Yeah, dude, that's the nice thing about, like, the wastewater plants is everything's pretty sanitary. I was out at people's houses, dude. But, oh, my God, bro. Don't have all that much time, brother. People need to pull God close. I completely agree with Mr. Detroit City. And the farther we get away from God, the more ridiculous our society becomes, dude. Yeah, dude, Jason, bro. Installing cable in houses in the middle of summer out there, I can't even imagine, bro. I can't even imagine how much that would suck, dude. Oh, my God. Whew. Woo-wee, sucker. That is terrible, man. You don't still do low volt work, do you? Yeah, I work in an office and need to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Hey, Chase, dude. Now, Chase, you work in an office, but you just got a promotion, dude. So you must be doing something right. You're growing up somehow, right? You're doing something right. Hey, no, Jason, dude, you ain't taking away from the show, dude. Lots of commonalities. I don't care, dude. You ain't taking away from the show. You guys are adding to the show, dude. You guys are adding to the show because it gives me something to talk about. And that's the thing, dude. It's not like I get to, not like everybody I know. Like, what are the odds that I bump into people that have worked in wastewater and low volt work, dude? Like, I've worked a lot of fucking weird jobs, man. And so the odds of me meeting someone who's worked in both and completely understands, like, how nasty wastewater is and how just shitty of an industry cable install is. It is just a shit box industry, dude. It is such a shit box industry. The show has more live viewers than Lions Nation. No way, dude. Are you serious? Damn, dude. You got 9 people watching. That's insane. Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. I would rather do low voltage and get paid well. The foot thing takes away from physical abilities to do a lot of... Oh, yeah, dude. That makes sense. So are you, like, limited? Can you not, like, climb ladders and stuff, bro? Or, like, stand for extended periods of time? I bet you are pretty fucking limited, dude. I didn't even think about that, bro. Oh, you know what we could do? We could get you a bionic leg. I've been thinking about getting robot legs. The procedure's kind of expensive, but I think it's worth it. Hell yeah. Let's go, boys. You guys are doing awesome this morning. I appreciate it. All right, let's roll over here to Pride of Detroit discussions. What are you hoping to learn from Lions OTAs? What are you hoping to see from Lions OTAs? The answer, I'm going to be particularly looking for some clarity on roles in the trenches. On the offensive side of the ball, there's a lot of players I'm eager to see. Obviously, there are rookies to watch. Will Tate Ratledge continue to get a lot of looks at center? Or will his competition for the starting right guard job begin? Is Miles Frazier going to continue to split time between tackle and guard? But beyond that, there are still questions about plenty of other offensive linemen. Is Giovanni Manu actually going to get some time at guard? Or has he climbed his way up to the tackle depth chart after a rookie season spent behind the scenes? Where will they put Colby Sorsdahl in year 3 of his career? On the waiver wire. And is Graham Glasgow still a part of the starting crew. Tentatively, yes, guys, we've talked about this a few times. Sorsdahl is going to be there. Sorsdahl, sorry, brother, you got to be put out to pasture, my guy. Maybe you can get a fresh start with another organization. You never lived up to expectations. Granted, you were a small school guy. Never were able to grab the opportunity that was given to you multiple fucking times, dude. As it stands, I would imagine Graham Glasgow is going to hold on to that starting spot simply because I think I just don't know if the rookies are going to be ready yet. I do anticipate that at least by mid-season, Tate Ratledge to have usurped Graham Glasgow for that starting guard spot. If he doesn't do it in OTAs, you guys, I've said it before. Tate Ratledge was the guy that I had to walk out of this past draft with. I think he's the best guard in this entire NFL draft, and the Lions were able to steal him in the second round. There may be even fewer answers right now along the defensive line with so many players capable of playing multiple spots. It's hard to know where we'll see people like Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, and Pat O'Connor play. Even first-round pick Tyleek the Freak Williams has some versatility to him. Will he be at nose tackle, or are we playing the 3-tech, or both? Obviously, whatever we see this week in OTAs opens to the media should be considered permanent. This is the time of year in which teams will explore possibilities and try players out at different positions. Still, it's exciting to see the Lions' initial version of what the trenches may look like come September. What are you hoping to see from the Lions? Okay, so there were a lot of reps that Tate Ratledge was getting during rookie minicamps at center. And some people are like, okay, is he learning to be Frank's replacement? Is he going to be that tweener guy like Graham Glasgow? Personally, I think Tate Ratledge is getting reps at center because center is the quarterback of the offensive line, and it gives him a deeper understanding of the playbook, the scheme, and what we're trying to do. I think Tate Ratledge is the guy who will eventually take over as the leader of the offensive line, not taking away from Penei Sewell, but I mean the coverage, the calls, the analysis at the line. Can Tate Ratledge play center? Well, we'll see. Do I think Tate Ratledge ends up taking that starting spot away from Graham Glasgow? Yes, I do. By the end of season, as we're sitting comfortably at the number 1 seed, 17-0, with a first-round bye, the Detroit Lions starting offensive line come playoff time will be Taylor Decker, Christian Mahogany, Frank Ragnow, Tate Ratledge, and Penei Sewell. That's what I think your final starting offensive line is while we make our undefeated run towards the Super Bowl. That, of course, is all up to injuries and development. So that we'll see where that goes on. So last few minutes here, we'll roll down in the chat. I know where we will find guys like Levi Pascal, etc. The IR, yes, exactly, Mr. Detroit City. Levi Onwuzurike got that 1-year prove-it deal. Never been able to stay real healthy or productive when he's on the field. I think Josh Pascal can stay healthy, but he's not a pass rush guy. He's that tweener heavy end that I know we like to have. Marcus Davenport stays healthy. Josh Pascal barely sniffs the field. Personally, I think we have great rotational depth to keep these guys fresh and injuries less likely. Manu can move around and can be a great bookend to Sewell when needed. What I'd like to see out of Manu Ginobili, I swear to God one day I will call him Giovanni Manu. I swear to God one day I will not continuously call him Giovanni Manu or Manu Ginobili. What I would like to see out of Giovanni Manu is I'd like to see him take the Dan Skipper role. Okay? As much as we all love our friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper around here, let the Detroit Yeti take over, right? Dan Skipper ain't getting no younger. The Detroit Yeti probably a little bit more athletic. He's equally as big, and he's just as nasty, right? Why not? Why not let the Detroit Yeti come in as our big tight end? You know what I'm saying? We started Frank out the same way and moved him to center in year 2, I believe. Yes, Mr. Brent DeWitt, you are correct. I do believe that Frank Ragnow started out at guard and then moved over to the center position, which I would imagine is exactly what we're planning on doing with Tate Ratledge. We've talked about it before. The reality of Frank Ragnow being around 5-6 years longer is a pipe dream, And it's nothing to take away from the guy, but he's given it his all for a while, and he's left it all on the field. And eventually his body's going to tell him enough is enough. So I don't see Frank Ragnow, although he's the best center in the game. I don't know how many more years he's going to be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? We aren't talking basketball, LOL. That's agreeable. Don't sleep on Frazier either. He might be the steal of our draft. And I think Miles Frazier is going to be similar. We'll see similar production and development like we've seen out of Christian Mahogany. It's not that I'm sleeping on Miles Frazier. It's that I'm so hype about Tate Ratledge. Simply because it was a justifying pick. I was high on him the whole draft process. I said the night of the draft, we were doing our mock drafts leading into it. And shout out Frank the Tank called us drafting Isaac Tesla. I needed us to get Tate Ratledge. We were able to get it, so it justified it. So mine is just pure bias. It's just pure bias. But I do really like what I've seen on tape out of Miles Frazier. The versatility of the guy is exactly what we need. And if he can just come in and plug in as our swing tackle, as our 2A guy along the interior offensive line, that is just a massive benefit to have. He was a very good tackle at LSU. So he played at a high level in college. It makes sense that he should be able to transition relatively smoothly to the NFL. Arkansas's boys have owned center for over a decade in Detroit. That is, you're correct, dude. And Arkansas has actually cranked out some pretty good players over the past couple years. Not necessarily, big flash in the pan guys, but every now and then a guy pops out of Arkansas and it's like, hell yeah, go give me one of them there Razorback boys. You know what I'm saying? And let's not just gloss over the fact that Frank Ragnow and Tate Ratledge off the field are very similar guys. I mean, they be doing, outdoor sports, hunting and fishing. Frank Ragnow is kind of known for that. He's got a whole organization that almost won him Walter Payton Man of the Year 2 years ago, where he takes, kids who no longer have a parent or both parents and takes them hunting, fishing, shows them a world that they might not ever have been able to experience. And I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So, well, boys, we had ourselves a good show. Man, chat really popped off there for a little bit. Let's go ahead and check the poll here. Wowza. All right, we end up with 6 votes. Who needs to have a big week of OTAs? Everybody faded the depth players. We're not too worried about that. We are focusing on our new shiny toys. Our offensive and defensive line rookie players is exactly 50-50. So you guys are it's split, and there's no wrong answers here, and I absolutely love it. So that bodes well for our community. That shows that we are all in the know, and none of us are just like leaning on one way or the other. We're saying, hey, these are the positions that we attacked in the draft. These are the positions that we want to see develop. This is what we want to see. We want to see these guys because we all wanted the edge player. We all wanted a big flashy edge rusher in the first round. So we want to see what Tyleek the Freak Williams, our first round pick, is going to be like. And then, boy, we went up and we got aggressive to go after Tate Ratledge. So I want to know. Was that move right? What are we going to get out of Tate Ratledge? Is he going to be that guy? As well as what is all this hype around this Mr. Miles Frazier character? Is he really all that in a bag of potato chips? I think he is. I think he's good enough that Colby Sorsdahl better start shopping around for property in another city. And Graham Glasgow better start really shaping up or shipping out, because if he takes another step back like he did last year, his position is not guaranteed on this organization, and he will be passed over very quickly by our talented rookies that we have here in-house. So that's what I kind of like to see. Frank and Travis were both pretty close to getting Man of the Year. Yes, they were, dude. Regardless of who starts on the O-line, I've never seen this kind of depth on the O-line. I think Glasgow's cut. Hey, Flair versus Savage. What's up, brother? Hell yeah, long time no see, dude. Welcome, dude. Glasgow could possibly be cut. I do agree with you, Brent DeWitt. I've never seen a team with such high-powered depth along the offensive line. We have bodies on bodies and bodies that can play at a high level. Flair versus Savage, I didn't think about the possibility of Glasgow getting cut. could possibly happen. He carries some weight. Yes, his playoff tape is terrible, and he is 31. He's on the very wrong side of 30. Last year he took a full letter grade regression step back from where he was the year prior. His foundation is shaky. However, he does play that Brad Holmes bias. Not I don't want to say biasy, but that favorite. You're kind of my guy. I'm going to reward you. I'm going to give you a little bit longer of a leash. And as it stands right now, the versatility that we know Graham Glasgow has, that he can play center, is incredibly valuable to the Detroit Lions. Again, though, we've seen Tate Ratledge taking snaps at center. Miles Frazier said that he's willing to play center. There could just be not enough spots available. And if it comes down to, say, Tate Ratledge is playing at a strong B, and Graham Glasgow is playing at a weak B+, but has the veteran leadership, if I can save a little bit of money to restructure deals, to re-sign guys and during the season, yeah, Graham Glasgow, it's time to go. It's time to go. But we'll see. We'll see. Not a surprising move, though, if Glasgow gets cut. Now that Flair versus Savage brings that up, not an impossibility, actually, now that I think about it. We're about to find out if Gigi's bad season was due more to playing injured or father time. I think Brent, we're going to find that it is probably father time, mostly because I think we're going to see the playing injured was because of father time. They took Tate in the second, and they like Mahogany. Yeah, Mahogany. I think Mahogany is going to be a starter. He's a fucking animal, dude. He's a nasty animal down there at the guard spot. I love what Christian Mahogany brings to the table. Same people who ride Mahogany like he is light years ahead go off for 3 games. He actually showed up to work to play. When you show up every single day like Graham and play all positions, you sure have mistakes. In the words of The Undertaker, Father Time is undefeated. I agree with you guys, dude. I agree with you guys. I agree. I'm not going to say Mahogany is light years ahead, was really good in college, but the fact his buddy couldn't show up to his job year 1. But at the very end, yeah. I'm going to be honest, though, Mr. Detroit City, from what I understand, he had some personal stuff, and then he also had mono. And Jesus Christ, dude, when I had mono 20 years ago, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. Was it worth missing a whole season? Probably not. But the sample size that we have seen of Christian Mahogany, I liked what we've seen on the field. Yeah, Chase, Flair versus Savage, I agree with you guys on that one. Yeah, the Father Time is undefeated. Dirtbag isn't giving up a spot, in my opinion. Tentatively, I've had great grill cooks, but couldn't show up to work. I'd rather have a mid-cook who at least knows that he's going to show up. There you go. And that's what we say, Mr. Detroit City. What is the best ability in the NFL? Availability is the best ability. Yes, there was the first half, 2/3 of the season where Mahogany wasn't available. But he got over it, and he was able to come in and play at a high level. If we can continue to pick up where we left off, similar to Jameson Williams, if we can continue to pick up where we left off last year, obviously the road looks really good ahead. But this is all speculation. This is all speculation. For all we know, guys. For all we know. Training camp opens up, and here rolls in 400-pound Christian Mahogany and 400-pound Graham Glasgow, and all they've been doing is eating fucking ho-hos and ding-dongs this whole offseason, and neither one of them are going to make the roster. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to keep Mahogany in development too. He wasn't needed too much yet. Now he is ready and is a beast. Jason Kenyon. I don't want a hot blonde on Friday and Tuesday nights. I want a steady woman 7 days a week. Agreed, Mr. Detroit City. Agreed. And yeah, Jason Kenyon, I think you're right. If I'm not mistaken, Mahogany was supposed to follow the same kind of plan as Giovanni Manu, where it's supposed to be a developmental year. They were supposed to just sit, learn, not really get too much game experience, if any at all. Due to necessities, he was kind of thrust into the role, and was I think Mahogany ascended to the level that he needed to play at, given the condensed time window he had to learn the playbook. Now, if he can have the whole offseason, the whole training camp to really learn, study, let Hank Fraley get his dirty little dick beaters all over him and show him exactly what he's supposed to do, I think Mahogany is going to be an absolute fucking animal, dude. If Mahogany can play where he's supposed to be playing at the level he's supposed to be playing come his sophomore year, our right side of the line behind Mahogany and Penny Sewell are going to be fucking destroyers, dude. Absolute monsters, man. Manu and Mahogany were ready, but they don't trust, but don't thrust into. Yeah, and that's the thing we've noticed with Brad Holmes is, with the exception of you, I would say with the exception of any player, but most of our guys are fucking ready to go. Brad Holmes, I've noticed, and Dan Campbell aren't going to put guys in a position where they can fail. If you're not ready, why blow the brains out on them? You know what I'm saying? Why kneecap them in the head game, in the mental department, before you're ready to develop on the physical field? If you don't have the physical assets, there's no shame in learning everything. This could be a touchdown and big F ranks. Oh, yeah, this could be, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be Taylor Decker's last year. We've talked about this before. Slept on the fact. Decker, Frank, Graham, all best friends. Oh, no shit. Decker and Graham are friends with Frank, huh? So they literally have each other's back on and off the field. I mean, that's dope. That's dope. I didn't know that they were all so tight, which is a good thing. We've talked about this before. We'll kind of end on this because we're getting a little long in the tooth here. But my thoughts on Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow. When we win the Super Bowl this year, one of those two guys will undoubtedly retire, without a doubt. Taylor Decker might come back. There's money still on the table for him. And I feel like Taylor Decker thinks he's a little younger than he might be, if that makes sense. Father Time maybe hasn't quite caught up to him, but I think he's trying to outrun Father Time a little bit more so than most people would be inclined to believe. When the Lions win the Super Bowl, Frank Ragnow retires. Why come back, put your body through it? You're already going out on top. You've done everything you could possibly do here in the Motor City. You're an icon. You're a local legend. You know what I'm saying? So when the Lions win the Super Bowl, it only makes sense for Frank Ragnow to retire. Personally, I do think that this will be Frank Ragnow's last season, regardless. I think that if we do fall short of the Super Bowl, Taylor Decker 100% comes back. If we fall short of the Super Bowl, it's a 60-40 on Frank Ragnow coming back. My personal feelings are, you kind of see it with how we drafted players this year. Maybe Brad Holmes knows more about it. Maybe he's had conversations with Frank off the field. But my personal feelings, this is Frank Ragnow's last year in the NFL. I think he should do the right thing. You guys know I'm a big advocate for guys to be able to physically walk away from the game while you're still able to walk away from the game. And Frank Ragnow doesn't strike me as an idiot, and he doesn't strike me as an egomaniac chasing glory. I think he's a realist. I think he's very understanding of where he's at professionally, personally, health-wise. So this is what I would kind of expect to see Frank Ragnow's last year. And then, honestly, Graham Glasgow might just be gotta cut the fat. You know what I'm saying? Gotta cut the fat. So Frank got the toe, and TF is on the wrong side trajectory, as well as rumored to retire if we didn't keep it on. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that some guys threatened to retire if we didn't retain Hank Fraley. And again, we talked about this yesterday. I've talked about it a lot. I thought Hank Fraley was going to get the offensive coordinator job, but unfortunately, that ended up going to John Morton. I say unfortunately simply because I'm a big Hank Fraley fan. John Morton could bring that explosive, like I said, John Morton and Jared Goff, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, Jared Goff and John Morton. So, all right, boys. Well, this morning, we talked about NFL legend slam possibility of Aaron Rodgers. Terry Bradshaw took a couple of pot shots at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron diddly do Rodgers. And what did he say here? Was That guy needs to stay in California, go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there. And we briefly discussed the implications of the Detroit Lions bringing in veteran linebacker Zach Cunningham. A couple of different avenues we looked at. Could be a depth spot, could be a learning spot. Some rumors have speculated it could be. Alex Anzalone is going to be traded out of Detroit, and we need to start having a veteran fill in and learn the process for him before Malcolm Rodriguez takes over that role. We then went ahead and talked about OTAs starting here today. And we talked about some things that we can look forward to for the Detroit Lions OTAs. Mostly, we're going to be looking at the meat and potatoes. We want to know what's going on in the trenches. We want to know what's going on in the trenches because all the flashy glamour positions, we know pretty much who's going to be what, where, and how. But now when you get into the old trenches of it all, where boys become men, there's still some question marks. So we're going to be looking to see kind of maybe OTAs can kind of clear some of that up for us. We'll discuss come Monday of next week. So, boys, I gotta say, thank you for an awesome week. It was a shortened week. We didn't even know if we were going to be doing today's episode, but I'm going to try and stop talking so much about personal life at the front of the videos and kind of save it for the back of the videos. So with the changing that's happening at where I work with ownership changing, the UAW is we're just going to file an extension, 60, 90-day extension to continue operations under our current CBA, simply because we didn't quite understand. So a few weeks back, we were sent letters. Legally, the authority had to send us letters under what's called the Warren Act, which was notifying employers or employees of the potentiality for layoffs, right? Because technically we will be going from being employed by one organization to being employed by this other group, right? So technically there would be a change of employment, and we didn't quite realize. Now, as far as we've been told, the rank and file, we have nothing to worry about. The new ownership group is not worried about the individuals who operate and run the facility. What we didn't know was just how much change they were going to be doing in our leadership group. So to make things easier on the new ownership, the UAW, in hopes of maintaining solid relations, are offering them we're going to continue an extension so that you guys can continue to do your transitionary period, not worry about the CBA. And then in 60 days, we'll come back after you guys have kind of settled in and let some of the dust settle where it may. But what's awesome is basically explained to me that one individual at the company is essentially powerless now. So that's a good thing. So that to be said, we didn't know we were going to have a show today. We're going to have a show today. We were kind of looking at a goofy schedule. I was going to have to be working some days for negotiations, but looks like negotiations aren't going to happen for the next little bit. So we will be continuing to just keep slogging on forward through the off season, giving you the best possible content we can muster. 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then once we kind of get closer to the start of training camp and preseason, last couple weeks of June, I'll probably make the announcement on when you can expect us to go 5 days a week. That's right. I'll be bringing you guys content Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 to 10 a.m. for you Cowboys down there in Oklahoma. We'll kind of be going, we'll make that announcement then, but we will be going 5 days a week, and hopefully things can kind of keep stemming forward because I'm kind of putting all my eggs in this basket at this point. I like what we're doing here, and I like hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out, making the show what it is. It really makes things just a lot better for me on my end to be able to engage with you guys and just read the chats. And yeah, I know we kind of go all off out in the weeds and whatever, but you know what, dude? I think that's what makes our show kind of unique is we're just here hanging out, chatting it up. So hope all goes well with negotiations. Always negotiate from a position of strength or leverage. Well, that's what we're hoping to do. Flair versus Savage is we're hoping to get a little bit more now, because with us going from public sector to private sector, for the first time, we are going to actually gain the ability to legally strike. So we do get a ultimate upper hand that we've never had at this establishment. Will it come to that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not going to come to that. I have already talked to individuals from the new company. I've talked to as much as I hate to say it, political leaders here in the city of Lansing. Their main goal is to maintain positive relations with the United Auto Workers, and that's our main goal too. But we also need to be compensated and taken care of. Because wages have not kept up with inflation where we work at for many decades at this point. So we're going to try and get a little bit more money from our rank and file, and hopefully get a little bit more on the back end for everybody. But we'll see. That's neither here nor there. Always love hanging out, even if I'm a newbie. Chase, dude, brother, we love having you here, dude. You're a key cog in this show, dude, and you're not a newbie, dude. You're our Bengals insider, bro. I'm in a union supply chain, and we're going to be negotiating next year. Hell yeah, Flair versus Savage. Stay strong, brother. You know what I'm saying? Strength in numbers. Make sure that you negotiate well and get yourselves a good deal, dude. We're looking to. I'm asking to maybe do a 4-year contract this year. We've been operating on 3-year contracts for the past umpteen number of years, but I'm looking for a 4-year contract with a substantial. I'd like to see a 4-year contract with a 7.5 3% increase, as well as our current employer seems to think that 80 cents an hour is a shift premium. And I'm like, you realize that the rest of the world operates on a percentage of your hourly wage? And they're like, no, Hat, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay. Now, what's funny is I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm the biggest, dumbest motherfucker that's ever walked the face of the earth. And literally everything that's happening at my employer, I have been telling them was going to happen for the past 2.5 years. So it is what it is. It is what it is, and it do what it do. All right, boys. Well, that's going to do it for this week. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you feel froggy, go ahead and share this around with all your friends. Ring that notification bell so that you can be aware Monday when we go live, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central for you Cowboys down in Oklahoma. Guys, try and have a good rest of the week. Stay out of trouble. Don't call for bail. It's not pay week. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Yeah, so I've been in Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until next time, bonga bonga. Frig off.